Welcome to Outback Outdoors. Make sure you like, subscribe, and click the alert to stay up to date on all our new videos.
What's up, guys? Cory from Outback Outdoors here. If you guys are like me, we're starting to think about the fall because it's application season, brochures just got mailed out, and we have to enter what's called the hunt planning procedure, cycle, season, however you want to go about that. But it's time to think about where you want to go, what you want to do, so you can apply for those licenses because all the application dates are coming up. We're going to take a look at Onyx, our sponsor's app, and go over some of the tips and tricks and things that I do in Onyx to help me figure out what I want to apply for and where I want to go. Couple different components here. You have to use different apps like Go Hunt, Top Run, Hunt and Full, your Divisional Wildlife's own website for their draw statistics, and figure out what your chances are, how many years, how many points, whatever your state has going on, to draw the different units. And that's a whole different animal there. Once you've kind of narrowed it in a couple different places that you possibly want to hunt, and if it's possible for you to draw those tags at your current status, then these tips and tricks are going to help you there. So let's just dive into this here. Go ahead and start screen recording. So we're going to take a look at unit 76 because it's a very tough unit to draw, even for residents, so we won't be giving away too much information at all. You can see that I already have my boundaries turned on, so you know what we're looking at. That is underneath your state's layers. Toggle it real quick. What I also like to use in this area is the government lands and then the private lands, so I can see the land ownership and see what is possible for me to hunt versus what I can't hunt on. We'll zoom in here real quick just so you can see what I'm talking about. We got all the private land not shaded in, and we have the public land. We're going to be looking at the public land today. Zoom back out, center that public land, and we'll zoom back in because that's what we're focused on. So we got all our public land that we're looking at. If I were going to draw this unit or possibly draw this unit and I'm trying to figure out where I can go, this is what I'm looking at. Exit back out of here. The next thing that I like to turn on is my roads and trails. The two things I click on are my trails and then my motorized roads. The reason I do this is because this is how I'm going to access the country. As I'm figuring out if this is a possible unit that I want to get into, I want to know how I can access it. Can I drive back a certain distance and then hike? Or am I only going to be able to drive into this area and then have to hike all this? Hiking 20 miles versus hiking a few miles is significantly different, and that's what I want to be able to know before I commit to this hunt in March, April, May, June, when application season and drawings come out. I'll know that I'm not going to hike 20 miles in somewhere. I can drive 20 miles in. So might be the deciding factor on what tags you want to apply for currently. So let's zoom back out so you can see this here. Got all these roads going through the unit, main roads from town, backcountry roads that I can drive on with a motorized vehicle, trails are dotted. One thing that you want to be conscious of and consider is, am I hunting during archery or am I hunting a later season, third or fourth rifle? And there'll be snow because this is open to motorized access, but it might be too snowed in once I get into October and November. You can always click on it. It'll give you more information, including open dates about that specific road or about that specific trail. That way you can have an idea if that's something you can access only during archery or that's something that you'll be able to access into the later months depending on what kind of tag you're looking at drawing. One thing that will help you in this deciding factor of, oh, am I going to be able to access this in November? is going over here and turning either hybrid or topo on and seeing the elevation in that specific area. We know we're getting up to 10,000 feet around this road. It's above the road, not really 10,000 feet, but you get the idea that this is going to get snow significantly sooner and probably in more amounts than lower down. Let's zoom back out here for a big overview picture. The next thing that I like to turn on is my wildlife layers. We're specifically talking about an elk tag right now. Just to make this easier, I'm going to turn on elk distribution. You can see that everything shaded in gray is elk habitat. Zoom back in over here. Elk winter range, elk migration. These are good bits of information to know depending on what tag we're looking at possibly getting again. Am I hunting a later season? I'm probably going to see what my access is like near that wintering range. Am I hunting archery early season? I might pay attention to what's high above those migration corridors. The in-between seasons, first rifle, second rifle, third rifle if we haven't got snow yet. Where can I hunt along these migration corridors headed towards wintering range? If I'm not seeing wintering range and I'm trying to hunt fourth season, I might not look at that unit. If I turn this elk distribution on and my whole unit is elk wintering range, I'm probably not going to look at that for an archery tag because there's not going to be animals during that time of the year. I'll go ahead and turn these off just so we can see our habitat again. What I also like to turn on under current conditions is active wildfire. I pretty much leave this on all the time. That way I can see if a fire pops up. We don't have any in this immediate area, but you can see if we zoom out, we have a current wildfire going on way over there. But it's always good information to have if there's a fire going on in your area. What I also like to turn on is my drought data. When I turn on my drought data, it lets me know what kind of precipitation we're getting in that area. Sometimes I'll look at this in a great big scale of my whole state, and we see if it's abnormally dry, severely dry, moderately dry, because that is going to play a huge factor in what kind of habitat I'm going to be hunting, whether there's going to be growth. Speaking of growth, it's going to also dictate how our antlers are doing. If we have a bunch of dry years, we're probably not going to have as much antler growth as that unit could possibly have if we have on par or above average rainfall. Let's turn this off. And then the next thing that I like to do is exit back out and go into trees, crops, and cover and turn on historic wildfires and timber cuts. When I can see historic wildfires and the years that were there, that gives me an idea of what kind of habitat and terrain I'm looking at. With a fire that's 10 years old, I know the regrowth there is pretty far along. Let's zoom back out and find a more recent fire. We got one in 2018 there. And I know if we go north, we'll find some other ones. We hop all the way up here, we got 2020. I know 3 years after these fires, the habitat is just starting to come back, and that might play a factor in, even though I can draw that unit, do I really want to hunt in there currently? Getting back down to our area that we're talking about. Because it might need a few more years before a 2020 fire is huntable with the new growth. Let's go ahead and turn these back off. So now I have an idea of what it's looking like in there, what my access is like, if this is going to be a good area for me to draw this year. The next step on this is taking a look at the 3D of this area. I like to do this because it just gives me a little bit better visual of what this country is going to look like. With my topography turned on, I can see what's flat, what's steep. I know I can drive back here and I can hike on this. I can see how tough this hike is going to be, how tough this drive is going to be based on my elevation change. Deciding on where you want to go. Yes, we're looking on what's ideal for the animals. We know we got north facing, south facing, east and west perspectives. We got benches, we got steep. But I'm also considering the shape that I'm in. Can I feasibly get back into these areas? If I pull up a map and it's a long, long way back to that really elk-looking habitat, but I live out of state at sea level, that's going to be a big move. I might see what's closer to a road versus what's way back off a trail. All this is good bits of information to keep in mind during this application process when you're choosing what unit you possibly want to apply for. And remember, this video is geared towards the people that have already narrowed it into a handful of units, and they're trying to look at that unit and see what the habitat and terrain is like, what the animal distribution with that wildlife layer is, to see if they want to draw this unit or a different unit, not necessarily what unit they can draw with their points and what units are easy to draw. Let us know what questions or comments you guys might have. Follow along. We're going to try to help you guys in the process that we use while scouting and figuring out where we want to go. This is before application season. It's like if I have the 13 or 10 points, whatever it takes to draw Unit 76, I'm going to be in here doing this and figure out, yeah, this looks great. I'm going to burn my points there this year. Or I'll look at this terrain, look at a different unit that takes equal amount of points and figure out what has the country, what has the access that I want to do, and apply for that unit. We're going to make some more videos after application season. That way, when I know what unit I drew and where I'm going to be hunting, how to really fine-tune and plan where I'm going in that spot, and some different tips and tricks to help me along there. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching Outback Outdoors. We encourage you to comment below, and as always, like, subscribe, and click the alert to stay up to date on all our new videos.